Hello everybody, this is the strongest pool boy here, and today in this video I'm going to be talking a tiny bit about training, but mostly about the questions and misconceptions I've received in my day-to-day life about just living with Tourette's and what it's like, what it is, and how it affects me. So one of the most common questions I'll get is, why don't you shout curse words? And it honestly is kind of a stupid question. Only 1% of people with Tourette's have coprolalia, which is poop talk in Latin, which means we shout curse words. So yeah, typically this question is asked to me after the context of they've asked me something like, "Hey, yeah, what are you doing with your face? I just noticed that. What is that you're doing with your chest? Or why do you nod your head like that?" And then I just say I have Tourette's, and they say, "Oh, so why don't you shout curse words then?" And my response is typically, "I don't know. Why don't you? I don't feel the need to." And I think that's a good way to lighten the mood. I don't really get offended about anybody asking me about my tics or Tourette's or what am I doing with my face is the most common way it's phrased. And the reason I don't typically is because you can tell people's intentions. I will say though, like in a group of friends, if somebody's bringing it up consistently, then I will probably stop hanging out with somebody, because if somebody wants to make fun of me for that, they're just not a good friend. When I say I might drop somebody, I mean I absolutely would and will, and I have done it before. But most people are very kind about Tourette's, so they're not generally toxic people about it. I've only had a few situations that people kept, like in a group setting, making fun of you in a way that you can tell is not to be charitable or funny. And so those people I will drop, and I'm kind of grateful that they did it, because if something as stupid as me having tics and moving my face in a weird way around them makes them make fun of me, then they were probably going to be terrible friends anyway. And I'm really glad that they showed me their true colors before it was something more serious. And so now let's talk about what classifies people as having Tourette's. So everyone that has Tourette's has some kind of tic. Not everybody that has some kind of tic has Tourette's. Tourette's is diagnosed as a child. If you develop tics later in life, that's just not Tourette's. And it has to be involuntary. You don't have to have coprolalia, which is poop talk, and it's pretty common. 1% of people have Tourette's, and it's a disorder of the brain that you can uncontrollably tic. So that's one other thing. So if you tic and you can stop yourself, you don't have Tourette's. So for me, when I try not to move my eyebrows, what happens is they move less. If I try not to nod my head, what happens is it becomes more subtle. But I can't fully stop myself from nodding my head or moving my eyebrows. Like I can try, but I can't fully do it. I can only make those muscles move less. Same for my chest. And I don't just tic in my face. My chest ticks, my arms tick. Sometimes my legs even tick. In the past, I did have verbal tics. Well, just one, and I would clear my throat. I actually couldn't stop. I would be trying to not, but I couldn't not do that. It was crazy. It's just a weird sensation that I couldn't not. And in class, it would cause problems. People thought it was weird, but I have gained control of that in the last several years. So I actually commented on a Greg Doucette video that I did one pull up for every like this comment gets, and that I would stream it. And I have streamed over 1,000 pull-ups before. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to time lapse it, because this is only 417. I just checked it. So I'm just going to bring 417 pull-ups on a time lapse, and then we'll have a conversation after. I trained chest yesterday, so we'll just skip it today. But I don't know if I do some push-ups after. And the next question is, what causes me to tic when? And the answer to that is, sometimes I'll be in a great mood and I'll be ticking a lot. Sometimes I'm in a great mood and I'm not ticking. Sometimes I'm in a horrible mood, I'm ticking a lot. Sometimes I'm in a horrible mood and I don't tic. It can be correlated to mood, but it kind of is not. Time lapse, we're going to just explain how I'm feeling, and is so much harder than usual, especially because I'm coming into this sore from training the last 5 days straight. Spoiler alert, I did not finish all the pull-ups in this video because we've got another video coming out where I've got over 1,000 more pull-ups to do that I've still got to do. So we're going to do a time lapse and a Q&A over that video. So if you've got any questions or just any questions, just leave them in the comments below. So just 68 pull-ups in, my elbows are already pretty flared up just because I'm pretty overtrained. So I'm going to go home, take some Advil. So after this, of course, I went home, I did 32 more pull-ups so that I had done 100. And to my complete surprise, the next day I was actually pretty sore. I guess I had trained 5 days in a row at that point. But yeah, so I took yesterday off, and then today we had another training session where I decided, since I'd only been doing endurance pull-ups recently, that I would do a heavy weight training day today. 33 calories, a little over 3 minutes. That's a warm-up. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is why I don't feel bad for myself and how I overcame that feeling that I used to have that, dang, this really sucks. Why is everything punching down on me? And, you know, what's wrong? And you know, so for me, what happened that made me not feel nearly as bad for myself as I used to, and at this point I really never do anymore, is you know, I went to Boy Scouts, and we had this guy who was in the position in this troop called Senior Patrol Leader, which basically means he led the troop as a boy, and he had been voted in, and he had Tourette's. He didn't have coprolalia, but he had a lot more verbal tics than I had, and he would still lead the group of boys. But, you know, what I was grateful for in a lot of ways is just seeing that, like, it is so much worse than mine, and he's still a great leader, and I have absolutely no excuses not to do really well. I mean, he had a full-time job, he made good money, and I honestly felt bad for him. And if you go on YouTube and look up Tourette syndrome, you're going to find hundreds of people that have it so much worse than I have it. And if you are one of 99% of people with Tourette's, so 1% of people have Tourette's, 99% of those people with Tourette's, it's not crazy. Like, it can be pretty bad, and like for me, it's not that bad, but I still, get very annoyed when I can't stop ticking. Because I'm not quite as comfortable failing reps on squats as I would be on other movements. Like, sometimes I'll be speaking and the ticking is so bad that I have to pause speaking for a moment because I just can't speak and have this bad of ticking happening at the same time. And I'll take that pause, and that makes me really angry whenever my ticking gets bad and then I can't talk. It's like, that makes me really, really, really frustrated. And I used to feel bad for myself, but honestly, Jason is the main reason that I don't feel bad for myself at all. The other thing that allowed me not to feel bad for myself was that I did sales, and people clearly bought from me, and they were obviously not judging me for my Tourette's. Now right here we've got some context on the actual exercise. I'm doing dynamic V4 warm-up. It's quite a hard boulder actually, and I haven't been able to do it at this body weight. I weigh 220, so it's quite difficult right now to do this, and everything moving board's really hard. Whew. It's my first time sending anything at this body weight. No, this is dynamic warm-up V4.
Nice. I like how it's a warm-up. It's a V4.
It's all a lie.
It's all a lie. Everything V4 is like, it would be V6 on the boulder wall out there. So this is actually one of the most important parts in all the exercise I do here today in this video is you can see me checking to make sure that these spotter arms will in fact spot my ass. So now I think I've pretty much said everything I felt was necessary to say about Tourette syndrome. So thank you guys for listening. If you got to this point, comment below, gang gang. But yeah, so thank you guys for subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, if you're new, please do. I do a lot of fitness content, and yeah, hopefully I'm going to be the strongest pool boy soon. Yeah, thanks for watching, and Have a good rest of your night. Oh, and if it's 1 a.m., go to fucking sleep while you're still up watching me.